Yay, she made it. Awesome. Perfect. Well, I'm glad you guys are joining me today. This is going to be a yin practice. It's going to be mostly yin, a little bit of active flow mixed in. I want to focus again on a heart-centered meditation. We ended with that on, I believe, yesterday. We're going to do it a little bit differently today because when I was going back through some of those scientific studies regarding the heart, it specifically mentioned heart rhythm meditation. And heart rhythm meditation is something that we used to offer at the original Half Moon with a guy named Curtis who moved out west. And so we haven't really done heart rhythm meditation since then. So I'm just going to kind of refresh us on that. One thing I want to say, I know everyone's worried about what's happening across the world right now with Russia invading the Ukraine, and it's awful. Any war is devastating and destructive and not good. It's really earth-shattering and heartbreaking. But I want to remind you, Tuesday was 2/22/2022. And I was mentioning, the shadow side of 2 is war and conflict. So it really did not surprise me. Astrology has been predicting a war early on this year. I didn't expect it to be this one. I kind of thought it was honestly going to be China. But regardless of who it is and where it's taking place, it is written in the stars. And the 2 has that energy of conflict and war, but on the flip side of that, which is what I want us to focus on, it's feminine, it's sensitivity, it's intuitive, it's partnership, it's cooperation, it's promoting and creating peace. I do listen to some people who channel from the other side, and they have said that any war that was going to break out would be short-lived. So fingers crossed. I'm obviously not tapped in that way. I'm just trusting what I'm hearing. But fingers crossed it will be short-lived. We will be bringing in the meditation at the end concerning the heart, and we'll be doing some heart opening poses so we can start to get the prana steeping in this area before we meditate. Not planning on using props, but absolutely bolster and blanket for the beginning and end would be great. All right, I'll meet you on the mat. So we're going to start off in a position where you may need some extra padding. So if you're on a wood floor like I am, you may want a blanket up underneath your pubic bone and make sure to smooth it out so there's no wrinkles or rough edges. We're going to start off in passive crocodile, which is where we separate the feet. We prop up the chest, cross the arms, and let the head reside here on the arms. Make sure that your face is not smushed to the floor. We want to be able to easily breathe. So provide enough space so that you can breathe. Notice your movement in the belly. Notice the slight upliftment of the chest. And use this breath work and this centering at the beginning to try to drop down into your heart. I know I typically ask you to gaze into the mind's eye, but for today's practice, I want you to look down towards your heart. Loosen up the lower body. Notice how the controlled and conscious breath work helps to minimize the thoughts. And the thoughts are often said to be like currents running through the mind. So we're trying to slow the current down. The second Yoga Sutra says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the lessening of the fluctuations of the mind. Yoga is the lessening of the agitations in the mind and body. And yoga helps to neutralize the whirlpools of emotion. Let's inhale, lift the head up. Crawl the elbows up underneath the shoulders. Line up the arms to be parallel. Splay open through the fingers and elongate your neck. Your buttocks, your legs remain soft. Feel the curve in the mid-back. Spread open across your collarbone. Close the eyes and imagine that minutes of light radiating from the heart. So I mentioned yesterday in this scientific study that was done in Germany, they measured 20 photons of light being emitted from a regular person's heart. But after the people dropped in and did conscious breath work and intentionally placed their awareness in their heart and even imagined the light stemming from the heart, it raised up to 100,000 photons of light. So that's what we're trying to promote through today's practice. And then we'll use that light in the end for the meditation. Now on your next out breath, go ahead and dip the head down towards the heart, but without shrinking into your shoulders. This way the chest stays open and alive. And less contracted. And then we're going to start to lean the head to the right shoulder. Think of giving your head a nod or a bow towards the divine masculine. Earlier this week, we focused on Hanuman and led up to the splits. And I shared a story where he ripped open his chest to expose the divine feminine and masculine embodied in his heart, represented like Rama and Sita. So now that you've given a nod to the masculine, let's bring the head over to the left. Giving a nod to the divine feminine. So even though I opened up with the subject matter that's happening in the world, just remind yourself that really what yoga and meditation teaches us is that we're not in control of external circumstances. We're only in control of our reactions to them. So try not to get too emblazed with emotion or opinions. Just hold some loving, compassionate space for the people who are truly being affected right now. And bring the head to center and lift your head up. And dial your hands away from each other. Maybe slide them forward a tad and lift your elbows off the floor. This is what we call seal. The brunt of our weight is dropping down into the pubic bone. We're getting some compression in the low back. If this is too much for your system, you can come down to prayer hands like this. Make sure the hands are wider than shoulder distance. Continue to meditate on the heart. The eyes are closed, look down towards the heart. Let's just take 3 more. That third one, let's go ahead and pour down to the forehead. Slide your hands up underneath your shoulders, and you're going to lift up to a tabletop position. Now, if you have this blanket available and want the extra padding, you can crawl the knees on top. You can bring the big toes together to touch, and then you can separate your thighs nice and wide. The right arm is going to extend down the length of the mat. The left palm will open. You'll thread it underneath the right arm. And then as soon as you drop down to your temple, fly the right arm skyward, spin that hand away, and then create a half bind. The arms looping back behind you. Now surrender towards gravity. Letting your weight drop onto the left arm. Face planting on your left cheek. There's a lot of meridians being activated here. We have 3 on the inseam of the legs. We have 3 on the outside of the arm. And 3 on the inside of the arm. One of those being the heart meridian. Close your eyes, drop in, and breathe. Breathe any worry or stress away. Calm any anxiety. Banish any fear. Let's gently release the right arm and thread the left. Position that hand so that your right arm can flip open and thread below. Basically turning to the other side, lifting the left arm, looping it behind your back. And then settling down and in. Control your breath. Breathe into your back body. Feel it expand and open up. On the inhale, and then try to maintain that feeling even as you exhale. Even though the lungs are constantly expanding and contracting, it doesn't mean that our mood has to continuously expand and contract with the lungs. So we're trying to move into that feeling of expansion and maintain it even as the lungs collapse. Three more breaths. You're ready to exit, lower the left hand, unthread the right arm. Walk the knees closer together, stack into a tabletop position just long enough to curl the toes under and to power back to downward facing dog. Now we're stretching out our limbs, elongating through our spine. This pose helps to calm our nervous system, shifting us from the sympathetic, stressed, worried, anxious state to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calm, relaxed, more composed and poised state. We'll go ahead and walk the hands back towards the toes. Land your heels. And then you have a choice. You can be active with Uttanasana, straight legs, or you can be passive, becoming more yin, bending the knees and opening up more of the fascia. Think about your life, your body, where you feel guided. You may want to slightly part your lips, which Loosen your jaw. Now plug your feet down, elongate your legs more. Condition the feet towards the floor as you slowly fan your arms slowly wide and building yourself up to stand. Continue to allow the palms to come together overhead to what we call upward worship. As you exhale, bring your thumbs to the upper back. Roll the arms in towards your ears. Roll the thighs in and push back with your thigh bones as you lift your chest up. So with your thighs rolling back and your heart picking up, it's going to be more about the thoracic spine. Notice how it pops open the cavity of the chest. And then lift the arms back up overhead. Exhale, let the arms circle around you. All right, hopefully you don't have, check to make sure you're not going to hit furniture since we're on the back of the mat. But you're going to bend your knees and come to chair Utkatasana. As we exhale, we're going to breathe it out. Breathing in, breathing out. One more. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, arms come back down, except they're going to lace behind your back. Shoulders roll back away from your chest. The arms lengthen downward. We're going to bend the knees and pour over the legs. So cranking those shoulders back is actually a heart opening position, even though we're bowing forward. Let your neck be neutral. Then on your next out breath, let your hands land beside your feet. Drop your tailbone more. Standing form of child. Now bend your knees enough so that your hands can start to walk ahead of the feet. Meditationally walking one hand at a time, lifting your heels along the way until you eventually come forward and align in plank. Be strong in your structure. Push forward with your feet, lower down to chaturanga. Land your knees and inhale, lift to up dog. Exhale, roll it back, down dog. Once you return to downward facing dog, be here. And then as you exhale, land your knees. Once you land your knees, walk the arms out in front of you, creating puppy pose. From puppy pose, we're going to come up and down into melting heart. So on your next out breath, go ahead and surrender into your shoulder joints, down towards your forehead or chin. Inhale, press into the mounds of the hands, rise up to puppy. Exhale, dip back down, melting heart. One more round. Inhale, puppy. Exhale, melting heart. And now we're going to hold and breathe. If this strains one or more of your shoulders, try crossing one arm in front of you like we did in crocodile and see if that makes it easier to maintain. And then, of course, eventually switch sides.
So this is opening the heart, lung, and pericardial meridians according to Chinese medicine. We open the shoulders, we open the heart. And this is more of a back bend shape. Think when you're here, about how you can chip, the edging of an egg away. You can think about hard-boiled eggs, and you just peel that crusty layer off. Think about taking away the crusty layer that lies over the heart, any hardness of the heart. Inhale, slowly start to lift the chest. Stack your hands. Tuck your toes, return to plank. Take the next vinyasa. So then once you come back to your downward facing dog, push into your palms, lengthen out through your arms. Fly high through your seat. And then we're going to bring our knees back down to the floor. We're going to lean over to one side to bring the legs out in front of us. Okay, the right leg is going to come in front of us, and you're going to carry the calf and the heel over to create what's called fire log. Even if there's a gap, it's all right. If it's too much, too crazy, or hurts, you're going to step that left foot over in front of the right knee. But you should still be able to see a triangular shape in your lap. Okay, now we're not going to go right into double pigeon yet. We're going to still focus on the heart. So stack your hands behind you. Let your shoulders roll back. Let your heart pop open. And then just find, a comfortable place for your head and neck to be. Now relax your shoulders. Take your left arm and thread it behind your back and your right arm below that. Let your shoulders slide down away from your ears. Crown of the head reaching skyward. Think about how often we slump in our posture. And even maintaining this posture for a long period of time, even if we're not depressed, can make us feel depressed. The shoulder shrouding over the chest is a way that we often unconsciously protect the heart. But that's a contraction. So let's expand it. Right? War is a contracted feeling. It's a contracted response versus an expansive response. And so this is all we can control. Our own thoughts, our own words, our own actions. All right, we're going to let the hands slide down. Rest alongside the knees, and we're going to spill over. And maybe you feel the catch right here. And if you do, just stay here. You might feel a longing to go lower, but you may need to pause halfway down.
You might feel encouraged to drape over more. One is not better than the other. Close the eyes. Merge with your breath. So when I was teaching this at the studio earlier, everybody was feeling super sensitive in their hips. And that could be a couple things. One, we got rainy, nasty weather today. So maybe it's showing up in the joints. But another reason could correlate back to what we know is happening around the world, right? We're all interconnected. And in the second chakra, which governs the hips, is the life force creative energy. Well, that life force creative energy runs through everything and everyone. So you may be feeling the impact of what's happening across the world, even inside your body right now. We're going to slowly walk the hands over towards that right knee where that left foot is. And again, you can be taller on the stilts of the arms. You can drape lower if your body allows. We're going to move into the hippie twist. So if you're fairly low on your lap, the elbow can be set there at the foot, and the right elbow flies up with hands in prayer. If you're more or less like this, it's better for the forearm, right, to come into the foot. And then you sweep the right arm back behind you. Still lifting and elongating out of your chest. And then exhale, release. All right, the hands are going to come behind the back. We're going to slide the legs out in front of us. And just flip, flop the feet in and out, several rounds. Then we'll take it to the second side. So this time, the left leg will come in at first. And carry the right leg over to stack directly on top. If that's not feeling great, step that right foot on over and try it from that point. All right, so we're setting up, hands behind the back at first. Shoulders roll back.
Find a comfortable position for your head and your neck. Breathe up into your heart. And when you come to sit upright again, right arm behind your back first, left arm will cross below that. I know sometimes when we're trying to sit this way, we feel like we're about to pour over the lap, but just try to maintain it as best you can. Think of already how we've been using conscious breath work, how we've been intentionally focused on the heart. Those photons are already multiplying and multiplying, even before our meditation. All right, we'll release the hands beside the knees, slowly hinge down. Testing the waters at this height versus something perhaps lower. And like I always say, just because you can doesn't mean you necessarily should. Because even though I can go to this degree, I'm not feeling like I should remain there. Coming back up. All right, from this double fire logger pigeon, we're going to walk our hands and kind of angle the upper body. So lean over the left thigh and right foot. And again, you can be stationed on your palms. Or sinking lower if that's available. And then we'll move into the hippie twist. So if you're fairly low, Right, you can do it in this manner. If you're up taller, do it in this manner. Even though I can go low, I like what this is doing for my back. So you can explore both. See what feels good to you. And exhale, unlock. Take the hands back behind you. Straighten out through the legs. Flip flop feet in and out. And then let me show you what we're going to do next. We're going to do 2 forms of fish. And so one form of fish is the more modified way. So if you need to do this one twice, that's okay. Basically, we're coming down onto the back, and after we lift the arms, we scrape them down alongside the ribs. We tuck the shoulders under the body and really puff up the chest. And there's a little bit of an opening in the throat. So let's go ahead and set up. Come down to your back, feet planted, arms lifting. Bring them down beside you, and you are pushing down through the arms in order to get that squeeze of the shoulder blades, to get that lift through the center of your chest. A very light, gentle curve in the neck. Nothing extreme, but you're continuously rooting your arms to keep the chest held up. If you need to maintain this one, I would come out first and then go back in. If you're going to do the other fish with me, pick up your seat, tuck your hands under, straighten your legs next. Pushing through the arms like you did in the earlier one to lift your trunk and to bow the head back. To exhale, release, bend your knees. Bring the knees to rest. Lift the arms back up. Crisscross your arms and let your fingertips drizzle down towards the floor. Elbows are pointed up above the collarbones. The face is free so that you're not blocking your breath. Inhale the arms up. You'll recross the arms the other way. Letting the fingers dangle down. Elbows pointed up over the collarbone. Eyes closed. Walk the feet down together, fan the knees open. And then fan your arms open. So the hips are about relationships, our connection to other people, but so is the heart. The heart is where we experience sympathy and empathy. The heart is where we share our stories from a soul level. This is how we intermix with each other, since the energetic field is so much stronger at the heart. This is how we can create influence and be impactful. And this also shows us a resonance. Let's take 3 more breaths. And when you're ready, lean over to one or the other side. Doesn't matter if it's right or left. I'm going to give you a choice. We are going to be sitting at first. And I would suggest on a bolster or a Zafu cushion if you have it. And we're going to be using our heartbeat as a way to measure the breath. Now, once we do this, it's just easier for the arms to have the hands placed on the heart versus doing this lying down. After we do the measured breathing, if you want to continue sitting formally with me, you can. At that point, after we measure the breathing, if you want to roll to your back and restore in a back bend, you can do that too. Okay, so you have a choice. But what we're getting ready to do is called a heart rhythm meditation. The first thing I want you to do is just take your hands over your chest. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Now let the breath go. And we're going to do something called a square breath. But first you need to connect to your heartbeat. The heartbeat will be our internal click track, or what musicians call a metronome. That's how musicians keep the right rhythm and timing within music. And what we're going to be doing is using the heartbeat. And we're going to breathe in to the count of 8. We're going to hold to the count of 16. And then we're going to breathe out to the count of 8. Let's begin. Breathing into 8. Hold for 16. Breathe out to 8. into 8. Hold for 16. Breathe out 8. Continue this process. If 8 is too challenging, take it down to 6, 12, and 6, or 5, 10, and 5, or 4, 8, and 4. One more round. Focusing on the heart, putting intention into following your heartbeat and measuring your breath this way. Once you release your hands, you can determine, do you want to sit formally or lie down with a heart opening pose? Regardless of which shape you take, sitting or lying down, put your focus into your heart, remembering it has the highest electromagnetic field in the entire body. Instead of gazing into your brow today, drop your gaze down into your heart. I've already been magnifying the light here. I want you to know that this field of energy that stems from the heart is measurable. We're going to increase our vibration so that we can be the light and shine the light to others. So begin to envision that as your heart beats, that it's pumping the light into your chest. And today, I'd like you to picture it as such a bright white light. It's almost like it has tiny, mini diamonds that have shattered all through the light, making it very sparkly. Let this light illuminate your chest, but let it begin to expand broader into your shoulders. Let it expand so that it's dropping down into your seat. It's starting to move upward through your neck. Continue to envision this light shining brighter and more brilliant inside of you to the point where it's filling up every crevice of your body, every corner in your mind. So much radiation of light and love stemming from the heart. It's like a geyser shooting up and pouring out. Envision this light no longer being trapped inside your body. Instead, it's radiating out of every pore of your skin, moving downward to the earth, upward to the ether, outward in every direction. Feel as though your heart's bursting with light, exploding with light. To the point where our lights begin to come together. Even though you're in your home and I am in my home, we're all connecting. Imagine it now filling up your entire home, moving outward across the state and the nation, over the oceans, to the other side. Imagine that others that are embedded currently in their hearts are also joining in this effort, creating a light grid around the planet and through the solar system. Imagine you have a bow and an arrow, kind of like a cupid. Your bow and arrow are made of gold. And at the end of the arrow, you're putting a ball of your love and light. I want you to imagine that you're shooting this arrow of light and love into the world leaders. Something that will pierce their heart, but piercing their heart with compassion. Excuse my language, but I want you to also imagine that we're taking ourselves over the Ukraine, over Russia. And instead of picturing an atomic bomb of destruction, I want you to picture a light bomb of expansion. Send it down where it doesn't hurt the soil, doesn't hurt anyone or any building. It just brings a profound amount of light, blinding light. Full of hope, full of peace. Now that we have used this light be impactful in an energetic way, I want us to just sit or lie in silence. Stay centered in your heart, focused in your mind. Maintain a state of calm with your breath. Three more deep breaths. Bend your knees if you're lying down. Roll to one side. Come up to sit. Joining your hands to prayer. Humbly bowing the head. Our prayers for all of mankind to live in harmony and in peace. May the love and the light within our heart have an impact and a positive influence as it creates a ripple effect out into the world. The light and the love within my heart bows respectfully to what you hold within yours. Namaste.